Hey guys, Will here. So today I wanted to talk to you about a couple of really important topics. How Boosted Media is able to make money from the videos that we produce and how we're able to get our hands on so much gear to do review content. So there's a couple of reasons for making this video. Above all, I just want to be completely open and transparent with you guys. I think it's important as the channel grows and I guess the influence of the channel increases as well. I know a lot of people rely on the opinions that we share in our videos and the information that we share to make their own purchasing decisions. And I think it's really important that you guys have as much insight and as much transparency into exactly what goes on behind the scenes here so that you can make the most informed decisions possible. And I'm hoping that this video might also help out some people that might be looking at starting their own channel, creating their own content, and just having a better understanding of how we've been able to build, I guess, the channel that we've built today with just over 100,000 subscribers. So I wanted to start off by saying a big thank you to you for watching or listening to this video and for taking this seriously, because this is something that is, a big problem in the industry in general, and it's something that's getting worse and worse over time when it comes to influencer marketing. And I guess the lines being blurred between what should be considered a review and what should be considered an endorsement. So this is something that we'll talk about a little bit more and we'll unpack in this video. But I wanted to say a big thank you to you for keeping the industry accountable. Keep those comments coming. If you see something that you think isn't right or something that you don't understand, please always feel free to, ask the question. Let us know that you've seen something that you don't agree with or that you'd like to understand more about. So please do continue to keep us content creators accountable. At the end of the day, we are only human, we can make mistakes, and we do rely on you guys to make sure that we're staying on the right path. And I just think that that is so vitally important. So thank you very much for paying attention and taking this video seriously. But let's get stuck into the meat of the content now. Let's talk a little bit more about how Boosted Media actually makes money. So I won't go into the full backstory now, but basically this channel's been around since March 2014. Started it up as just a passion project. I wanted to create videos on the side to cover and document a project car that I was working on. Never really expected people to watch them, but it was more just for my own personal and professional development. I wanted to sort of break through some anxiety barriers that I had around public speaking and content creation. And I just wanted to sort of grow and enjoy, the process of creating content. And, I never really expected anybody to watch the videos, but over time, more and more people did. And it was probably about 3 years ago now that I realized that there was potential in the channel and that I could probably grow it into a full-time job if I were to put in the effort required to actually, push past, just a couple of videos a month and really kind of focus on driving things forward. So in those early days, the channel was basically earning no money, maybe a couple of $1,000s a year at best, and really wasn't, it was a supplemental income, let's say. So it was able to, fund car parts and fund computer parts and things like that to, purchase stuff to do review videos and use in, the videos that we're putting together, but it wasn't enough to pay a wage or, put food on the table for the family or anything like that. So it wasn't a sustainable business, I suppose you could say. But what I was able to do is slowly increase that income over time to the point where it was actually earning enough money that it paid the bills as well. So at that point, I made a pretty scary decision to, I guess, quit full-time normal work and pursue this full-time. That was about 18 months ago now, so late 2019. And basically it's just been full steam ahead since then. Obviously the pandemic situation accelerated the growth of sim racing, and that was a huge driving force behind the fast growth of the channel as well. That's been a big help for us. And I think that we probably would be at a point where we were sustainable by now, but we probably wouldn't be able to have my brother employed as well. But when I transitioned across to this being my primary source of income, I was operating as a sole trader. But as I started to see the real potential in what we were doing, I saw obviously that we would ultimately end up with multiple employees beyond just myself. So registered Boosted Media as a proprietary limited business. This was back at the start of last financial year, so 10 months ago now at the time of making this video. And yeah, basically that transition meant that I had to kind of, start viewing what I was doing as more of a business than a hobby. Now, the reason why I mention all this is because I know that sometimes people think that, when a channel becomes a business, it automatically becomes just purely about making money and not about, I guess, keeping to the roots of the channel and what made the channel successful in the first place. It becomes all corporate and not really about, producing quality content anymore that's genuinely helpful for people. And what I would say there in answer to that is that, and I mean, feel free to make your own conclusion about this, but this is the way I think of it. For a business to be sustainable, it has to make money to an extent. So you know, obviously there are businesses out there that are just money-making machines and are geared in that fashion. But, you know, for a business to be sustainable, it needs to earn an income for those that are running it. It needs to cover overheads. And the bottom line is, for me to be able to dedicate the amount of time that I do to this channel, to be able to have my brother here helping out and editing videos and, you know, being in videos as well, none of that would be possible if we didn't earn an income from what we're doing. So I certainly don't feel guilty for that, and I don't see any reason why that's a problem. I think that, and this will be a lot more clear as we progress through this video, what's important is that that's handled in an ethical manner, in a transparent manner as well, which is obviously one of the reasons why we're making this video. And I guess in a way that continues to keep focused on the reasons why a channel was successful in the early days, you know, that was able to get it to that point, and it doesn't just suddenly become some corporate machine that is all about making money and not about producing, you know, helpful content for you guys anymore. So that is something that is really important to me, something that I always try to keep as the focus of the channel. We're not here to make massive amounts of money. Obviously, the income that we are making is pretty decent these days, and I'm really thankful for the support that we get from you guys that is able to make that a reality for us. So for me, what it boils down to is that the channel needs to continue to provide genuine value to the viewers and the community. If it's not doing that, then ultimately people will tune out, people will stop watching, and the channel will die. So I think that's one of the mistakes that a lot of content creators make, is when they do start to get an inkling of success, things can start to become a little bit too corporate, and they can kind of lose focus of the reasons why people are watching the content in the first place, and that can ultimately lead to problems. So that is something that's always kind of at the core of everything that we do here. It's always about, and I can honestly tell you, every single video that we make is, you know, the question that I always ask myself before I switch on the camera is, you know, how is this providing value to the community? And that can be value in terms of, you know, information. It can be value in terms of entertainment, but that's always something that's at the forefront of my mind anytime I switch on the camera. So let's talk now more about the actual sources of income. So there's a couple of different ways that we derive an income here. So one of the ways, and probably the most commonly understood way, is by the ads that you see on the videos. So YouTube serves up ads. The content creator earns a percentage of the income from those ads. And, you know, we're able to earn a little bit of money in that sense. Now, it's not a huge amount of money. YouTube doesn't like it when people actually share exactly how much money they earn from AdSense revenue. So I'm not going to go into those details specifically, but I can summarize it by saying, generally speaking, it's around about $1 per 1,000 views. The cost per click does increase beyond that occasionally if there's some big ad campaign going on by a company that's, you know, relevant to the niche. So say, for example, a company like Simucube are running a big ad campaign and wanting those ads to be seen on sim racing videos. You'll find that all the sim racing content creators suddenly get a big push in the amount of income that they get from their ads being shown on their videos while that campaign's taking place. And then at the end of that campaign, it generally will drop off. You also see a big increase around Christmas time, and then in January, it just falls off a cliff. But yeah, if you average it out, it ends up usually being around about $1 per 1,000 views. So you guys can look at the numbers. You guys can sort of figure out for yourselves how much we're earning, you know, based off that. I guess that's some calculation. So at the moment, we're earning enough from the YouTube ads to basically make up a pretty sort of standard wage for a single person. Obviously not enough to cover overheads and, you know, run a channel like this with multiple employees. So we do have to rely on other sources of income as well. Now, another source of income is affiliate marketing. So you guys have the option of choosing to use a link that sends us a small commission should you choose to purchase a product that we've reviewed. Now, there's a couple of different ways that people go about this, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen those dodgy websites that don't really fully disclose the fact that they're using affiliate links. So unfortunately, a lot of times affiliate marketing does get a bit of a bad reputation, and, you know, rightfully so. There is unfortunately a lot of people that don't use affiliate marketing ethically. Now, one of the things that we're really big on here is always making sure that we do fully disclose whenever you're clicking on an affiliate link. And we make sure that even though the law only states that it has to be disclosed somewhere on the same page as the link appears, we always make sure that we disclose that before the links themselves appear. So I guess to summarize that, what we're trying to make sure is always the case is that it's a decision that you guys are making to support us by using those links, and not something that we're tricking you into clicking and deriving an income from without you realizing. So look, to be honest with you, I think that's part of the reason why affiliate marketing has been quite successful for us. We've always kind of positioned it as a way that you're able to support us without it costing you anything. And, you know, honestly, we get so many messages from people. I'd say probably 3 or 4 people a day send me a message saying, hey, I'm wanting to buy this piece of gear. I watched your review. It was really helpful. Do you have an affiliate link that I can use? So, you know, I think that when it's approached in an ethical manner and in a way that is providing value to you guys, so we're able to still provide that value to you guys and, you know, able to earn an income from you guys choosing to support us in that manner, then it really is a great way to earn an income. Now, one of the questions that gets asked a lot, and I think rightfully so, and this is an important thing to unpack and discuss for you guys, is, you know, how can a video be unbiased if there's an affiliate link? If the person is earning an income from people buying a product, how can they not sort of, I guess, be a little bit biased towards the product? Now, I think that really what you need to do is think of this bigger picture. I mean, yes, it's absolutely true that if a new steering wheel were to come out, for instance, and we had an affiliate link for it and we just made a video saying, you know, this thing's amazing, it's brilliant, everybody should buy one, there's no reason why you shouldn't buy this wheel, then obviously we're gonna make a lot of money from people purchasing that wheel in the short term. But if you think bigger picture, once people start to receive that product, if they don't have an experience with the product that matches what we, I guess, put forward in our video, what we communicated in our video, then those people are going to end up leaving comments. They're going to end up saying, you know, this video is garbage, the product's shit. And, you know, ultimately our reputation would be absolutely destroyed very, very quickly. So yes, while it would absolutely be possible to use that kind of a system as a quick and easy cash grab in the short term, you know, there's no way a channel could survive long term and continue to carry a good reputation, you know, if that was the kind of thing that was going on. So, you know, we try to diversify our range of affiliate links as much as possible as well. So, you know, ultimately to us here, it doesn't really matter what product you're buying. You know, whether you choose one product or another, it really makes no difference. And, you know, if you choose to use those links to support us, that's fantastic. If not, that's perfectly fine as well. And yeah, look, we're able to earn enough money from that it's able to, you know, boost our income that little bit more and make what we do here possible. So that between the YouTube AdSense revenue and the affiliate marketing is how the majority of our income is earned here. And then we do occasionally do the odd sponsorship as well. So you guys would have seen recently we had Simucube sponsoring our Porsche All-Stars Super Cup races that we were doing. Now, we're very particular with how we handle sponsorships here as well. So for example, you'll never see a company sponsoring their own review video. Obviously that would be a massive conflict of interest, but you're also never gonna see, you know, a company that's related to the subject matter of the video sponsoring the video either. So say for example, if we're doing a review of, you know, a Logitech wheel, you're not gonna see that video being sponsored by Fanatec. That just wouldn't make any sense. It'd be, you know, a conflict of interest once again, and, you know, it would just be silly. So where I see sponsorships going on the channel, and this isn't something that we've done to date, and I think a good example of this is how Linus Media Group handles it. So often you'll see, you know, maybe Dollar Shave Club or, you know, some VPN company or something are sponsoring a video, not related to the content in any way, but still kind of relevant to the same kind of audience that would be interested in the subject matter of the video. So that is, again, something that we haven't really done much of to date, at least to the point of making this video, but definitely something that we'll be looking at doing into the future as those opportunities kind of arise. And having just passed 100,000 subscribers as well, a lot more of those opportunities start to open up. And it's definitely a great way that we can further diversify the income streams that we have here. One of the challenges that is inherent to affiliate marketing is that it can be quite seasonal as well as quite unreliable. Often, you know, affiliate program might go down for a couple of months at a time. And obviously, you know, the companies aren't particularly incentivized to get it up and running again, because as long as content creators are making videos, you know, whether or not, if they're not earning an income from those videos, it's better for the companies. So, you know, they're not super motivated to fix problems a lot of the time. And obviously, if there hasn't been any new products for quite some time, those sales will end up dropping off as well. So it's not, you know, when you average it out over the course of a year, it can be quite a decent income, but it's certainly not something that you can rely on from week to week or month to month. So, you know, really diversification is the key here, making sure that we're part of as many programs as we can be and offering you guys as many ways as possible to support us in that manner. But to quickly summarize around affiliate marketing, my opinion on this, and feel free to disagree with me, I'd love to sort of have a wider discussion about this, but I feel like it should always be a choice that viewers are making to support us in that manner. It should never be something that you're clicking on without realizing. And if you ever do see a link that you think is questionable, please do let us know, because that's obviously not our intention and something that we'll correct straight away. But any instance that you see of an affiliate link on any of our web pages or any of our videos should always be prefaced with a disclaimer stating that it is an affiliate link and that we will earn a small commission from you guys choosing to use that link. And again, it should always be a choice and not something that is presented to you without you realizing. So hopefully that clarifies around that. And again, if you do have any questions about how we run that or how we kind of, I guess, approach that, then please do let us know. So that is how Boosted Media earns an income. It all basically just boils down to, YouTube AdSense revenue, as is the case with most YouTube channels, and just the community support that we receive from you guys. And look, to be honest with you, that's something that I am very proud of. Having worked in the corporate world for, the first 15 years of my working life, I got burned so many times by, corporate greed and things like that, something that was really important to me in building Boosted Media as a business is that I always wanted it to be about providing value to the community. I wanted it to be, a way that I could give back and a way that I could spend my time doing things that are actually genuinely helpful to people. And, the fact that we've been able to build a business that is able to earn, a decent income through helping people is something that I am very, very proud of. So hopefully you guys feel the same way about it. Of course, if you do feel differently about it, that's perfectly fine. You're perfectly entitled to feel that way. And again, I'm not trying to justify anything here. I'm not trying to, be defensive. I'm just trying to be completely transparent with you guys so that you understand exactly how we operate here and, can make your own decision in that regard. And ultimately what it always comes down to is every single time we switch on the camera, how is what we're doing providing value, whether that's entertainment or information, how is it providing value back to our viewers and back to the community? So let's move on now and talk about how we're able to get our hands on so much gear to produce review videos. Now, there's a couple of really, really important things that we need to cover here and things that I really want you guys to understand clearly. So first of all, one of the things that kind of frustrates me a lot is that we get so many comments on YouTube from people saying things like, oh, I should become a YouTuber so I can get sent all this free stuff, or, how do you get companies to send you all this free stuff to review? Now, the first thing that I need you guys to understand is that when we get sent stuff to review, it's provided as a review sample for us to, produce the content. And, we don't actually own that equipment moving forward. So those companies can generally ask us for equipment back at any point in time. And, we actually have to spend a lot of money on storage of gear that we've reviewed, as well as insurance. And we spend quite a little bit of money on sending things back to people as well. It isn't as simple as just, we get sent something for free and then we make a review video and, everybody's happy. Now, different companies will have different sorts of contracts in place as well when it comes to supplying equipment for reviews. Sometimes we're dealing directly with the manufacturers themselves. Sometimes we're dealing with resellers, so that can change things around a little bit as well. But we are very, very, very particular, and I can't stress this enough for you guys when it comes to the terms of the contracts. And I've seen some absolute shockers over the years. I mean, it's unfortunately quite common in the tech industry in general for a lot of the contracts that surround, the supply of equipment to be quite unethical. And a lot of the times those contracts actually have written them in them as well that the reviewer isn't allowed to disclose the nature of the contract, which again, I think is quite unethical. Now, thankfully in the sim racing space, this is pretty uncommon. There's only been a few instances where I've come across companies where, they've tried to put terms in the contracts which were quite unreasonable. Now, in the majority of cases, I'm able to renegotiate those contracts to something that I'm happy with and something that I feel is ethical. And in cases where we're not able to do that, we just simply don't work with the company. So it's certainly not a case of we're just bending over for these companies to, get free gear and then producing videos that's, have a specific outcome in mind. Now, just to give you an example, there was a tech company that recently reached out to us to do a hardware review, and the contract that they sent us was just, I just laughed at it. They were basically saying, we'll send you this piece of equipment for free to review, but then if we don't like the review video, we're going to invoice you for the gear. Now, obviously that is extremely unethical because it's incentivizing a certain outcome in the review. Now, it's quite clever to do it that way because what they can do is they can say, well, we're not telling the reviewer what to say. We're not putting words in their mouth, and we're not telling them that a condition of being provided the gear is that they say certain things. But what they are doing is they're saying, if we don't like the outcome, then we're going to invoice you. So obviously that content creator is then going to be incentivized to give a positive review. And that is, at least in my opinion, extremely unethical. So, we do see contracts like that from time to time. Thankfully, it doesn't happen very often at all, if at all, in the sim racing industry. I don't think I've ever seen a contract that's been, that blatantly unethical. But, if we get a contract like that, generally what I'll try to do is I mean, if it's completely blatantly unethical to that extent, I'll just say, look, sorry, not interested, because that is a massive red flag to me, and I don't really want to work with a company that tries to operate in that way to begin with. But, you know, if it's just a little bit kind of, oh, I'm not really quite comfortable with this, or, you know, I'd like to change that, then generally I'll try to work with them. I'll try to sort of come up with a contract that I'm happy with, that suits, you know, the ethics of how we do things here at Boosted Media. And if they're happy to agree to it, then that is all fine. If they're, you know, not willing to agree to our terms, then, you know, we just don't work with them. But I guess to summarize the point there, the only review videos that I ever do are reviews that are done on my terms, not on their terms. So if they're not willing to agree to the way that we do things here, then, you know, then the review doesn't end up happening. And, you know, that can lead to, or I guess could be perceived by the audience sometimes as a bit of bias towards certain brands. And the reason for that is simply because, you know, we're not willing to work with brands that won't agree to our terms. So, you know, that does exclude certain brands from having review videos done on the channel. So that's the reason why maybe you might not ever see a review of a certain brand here. And it's as simple as that. So hopefully that kind of clarifies that for you guys as well. But basically the terms of any contract that we agree to are ultimately, we ask them to provide the gear to us. And the reason we ask them to provide the gear is simply so that we can cover product evolution as well. So I think that that's a really important part of the story. Obviously, if we're just doing a review video at a certain point in time, that is just a snapshot in time. Things can go wrong over time. Things can evolve over time as well. We get firmware updates, we get software updates, we get all sorts of patches and things like that. And, you know, it's important to sort of cover those things as well. And a good example of that is the Fanatec DD2 review video that we did. My initial experience with that wheelbase wasn't particularly great. And then later on, when some newer drivers came out, the experience changed quite significantly. And if we hadn't had that equipment on hand to kind of cover that product evolution, then you guys ultimately would have missed out on the full story. Obviously, holding on to gear as well does allow us to do comparison videos as well, which is something that is a little bit unique to this channel. You know, we do like to try to hold on to gear so that we can compare it to other equipment and, you know, cover evolution in that sense as well. So I guess the important thing to understand here is that we don't generally own the gear that is sent to us. It's here essentially on loan until it becomes no longer necessary. You know, a lot of times we do end up sending things back. A lot of times as well, you know, gear ultimately does become redundant or superseded by new models, in which case they don't really want it back anyway. So we're kind of free to do whatever we want with it. But, you know, we never sell gear that we've had for review. I don't really consider it to be my property. It's more just something that's on loan and sort of kind of just living here while it's of value in terms of the content that we can produce from it. And I think that's an important thing to understand as well, is that, you know, we're not motivated by the accumulation of gear. The value of the gear in terms of, you know, financial value is purely just down to the content that we can create from it. We've got so much gear here now at Boosted Media that we don't need more stuff. Honestly, these days, by the time we finish reviewing something and covered the product evolution as far as I feel is necessary, you know, I'm more than happy to send something back, because that way I'm not having to pay for security. I'm not having to pay for, you know, storage and all those things, which are very, very expensive. Obviously, when you have this amount of gear in storage, you know, you do have to have high quality security, high quality storage and things like that. So insurance, you know, all those things come into play, and they are all very expensive. So yeah, I guess the point here is that it's not about the accumulation of gear by any means. And, you know, as I said before, it is easy when you're starting out to kind of be a little bit motivated by that. And, you know, you kind of want that free cockpit, or you might want that free steering wheel because you don't have anything else, or, you know, you're just wanting to get as much gear as you possibly can to produce content. But these days, you know, it's very rare that we actually have to reach out to anybody to, you know, start that process. It's usually companies that are reaching out to us, you know, interested in us doing a review video, and then, you know, negotiations happening from there. And, you know, as I said before, we don't charge production fees for videos. There's never any money that changes hands in that regard, you know, other than obviously if there's an affiliate program where you guys can choose to support us if you're buying the gear. You know, it's purely just down to they supply us with a review sample, we do the review, and then if they want it back at the end, that's fine. Otherwise, we try to hold on to it so we can cover that product evolution. So hopefully that clarifies that for you guys as well. And a lot of times we'll actually end up giving away or donating gear as well once it's no longer required by us, and if it's been written off and the manufacturers don't want it back as well. We don't sell it again because, you know, I don't feel that it's my property to sell, but I'm more than happy to, you know, give it away or donate it to worthy causes. So a couple of examples of that is, if you guys remember that wooden full-size F1 cockpit that I had a couple of years ago, that ended up getting donated to a school up in Queensland in Northern Australia for underprivileged kids to to do some woodworking and experimenting with. We gave away my Husing Ultimate pedals, which I actually purchased secondhand originally. I didn't need those anymore, so I gave those to Emily Jones because I really love what she's doing in the sim racing community. I think she's a really positive influence on sim racing in general, so I wanted to try and support her. And there's been a few people within our Discord community as well that I've given stuff away to. I don't make a big deal of it because I don't want every man and his dog coming and wanting free stuff and sort of, creating that sense of entitlement. But, if somebody's been, particularly helpful to us, or somebody's making a particularly genuine and positive contribution to sim racing in general, then we're more than happy to, try to help them out to the best of our ability. And I'd say that over the years, we've probably given away somewhere in the vicinity of probably about 30,000 Australian dollars worth of gear. So just to put that in perspective for you as well, it's certainly not all about the accumulation of gear. And I'm certainly not saying this to brag or anything like that. Again, I just want it to be completely transparent. I want you guys to, understand the bigger picture of what goes on behind the scenes here. So I really do hope that this video has given you a little bit more insight into how things run behind the scenes here at Boosted Media, and a little bit more transparency as well in terms of how we go about producing our content so you can make the most informed decisions. So a big thank you once again for watching this video, and please do continue to keep the industry as well as us here at Boosted Media accountable for what we're doing. It is so important to keep those discussions going, and I really do appreciate those comments where things are being questioned, and just keeping that discussion going, because I think that ultimately if the industry isn't held accountable, then you are always going to see people that sort of try to start bending the rules and work things in their favor, and that's not what any of us want. At the end of the day, we want to try and keep this as genuine as possible so that you guys are getting the best value out of the content that you're watching. So thanks once again, guys. Thank you so much for all the support, and yeah, I'll see you again soon. Bye.